Good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
You too, my friend.
Welcome back. Forex Focus on Tasty Live.
How about
Always
it?
fun to be here.
All right. Yesterday, interesting day.
Great day. Did you watch any basketball? No basketball.
I forgot.
I was trying to boycott. Me, lifelong Duke fan, got my heart ripped out on Saturday. So
But it's so funny because I was going to bet Florida just because I was like,
they're good.
but I wasn't going to bet the money line. I was going to bet the
Spread.
spread, and I
What
would
was it? Yeah.
The spread was 4.5,
There
so
you
I
go.
would have lost.
Yeah.
So
Good game. My roommate was in one
it
of the.
looked like a good game.
Yeah, roommate was in one of the bracket pools.
Yeah.
With his friends. Total prize was $1,300. Just needed Houston. That's a tough one. So tough morning for him.
Wow.
Sorry, Griffin, but yeah, no, I didn't watch, but good season.
Yeah.
Now on to
But
what?
you
Now
were
it's
disappointed
Masters
once your
week.
Duke boys were gone.
Yeah, no, that was really bad. That was a colossal meltdown. Up 6 with 30 seconds left.
Don't you like that though? That's hard when you're a fan, but I love that part about college basketball.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Again, you look at the favorite, and it's never quite sure, and
And you never know why.
No, and I think it's interesting. I mean, whether you're using DraftKings, FanDuel, or whatever, these guys are masters of science. As much as it's all about what's Dave Portnoy doing and all the other junk, these guys are masters of data science because they are absolutely amazing at the way they set odds.
And even like copywriting and stuff like that. Like they're good at just creating engaging storylines.
That's a different piece, but I'm just talking about. I mean, they're running a trading business.
Yeah.
And they are running an incredibly complex trading business. That number one, they built great UX to make trading seem simple, and that is a real testament to.
Hard thing to do.
Yes, but the how good they are at that. And when I looked at all those lines, like even last week when we were going through the Final Four, I was like, "There's no blowout here. There's no edge. Everything's 2.5, 3.5 points."
And it's especially impressive when you have like these matchups where it's like, oh, you have the highest rated offense in the country and the highest rated defense in the country in two teams. And you're like, man, this could really go either way.
Right.
Like it could be a blowout.
So is this 3 straight for Florida? I should know this.
No, this is their first since like 2008, 2007. Yeah.
Now, did you watch the girls had their final on Sunday, right?
Yep, Sunday like 3 p.m.
You watched that?
I did. That was not a close game.
You watched that at home, or did you go somewhere?
No, I was at home for that one.
You can tell the truth. It's okay.
I went to a UConn bar.
Loading, but
no, I was home. But yeah, nice to see them get a win. But yeah, it wasn't a close game. Run away.
Okay, so what's next for you?
I don't know. I guess Masters week, right? You watch any golf?
Yeah.
That's a pretty nice one to throw on. Watch at home. Or at work. It starts on Thursday.
Yeah,
right?
the boys do tee it up early. Yeah, I like watching golf. Golf's fun.
Yeah, we've got one Northwestern guy in it, Matt Fitzpatrick.
So no baseball.
I'm not huge on baseball. I like going to like Cubs games. It was fun.
Right.
So in the summer, I'm tired of.
You like the spectacle, not the.
I don't watch day in day out.
Okay.
But man, it's still pretty cold out there.
Yeah, it's really.
We have like 2 weekends for it to warm up before I go somewhere else. Just call it.
Okay.
Out of here.
So when you go through the list of DraftKings stuff, you're not at ping pong at.
I'm not. I try not to be at ping pong.
NASCAR.
No.
F1.
I will. F1 is really tough. I love F1, but I don't bet on it.
I can't follow it anymore since they stopped doing the stupid show on Netflix.
Yeah.
I love that show.
They're just it's lagged. So the newest one came out for last year.
Are they catching? Oh, they are catching up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So check it out. It's pretty good. They just raced in Japan last weekend.
Okay.
But yeah, don't bet on it. It's hard. But I will say the fun thing to bet about in baseball is like you like finding out if the wind is coming in or out at Wrigley, and then you're like, oh, the wind's coming in, no home runs. And then they still absolutely.
What do you think about the new bat thing? Is everybody going to copy the bats?
Oh yeah, why wouldn't you?
Okay.
It's innovation.
Has everybody? I don't. I don't have the pay. they've done so much. I went to a baseball game last year, and the fact with that clock, it went so fast.
Yeah,
it's
wicked.
You had to watch,
Yeah.
or you missed
You're
stuff, which
done.
was great.
Yeah.
Because it used to be, there was too much.
Yeah.
It was 4.5 hours of just too much.
No, they did a great job.
Has anybody else?
A few teams have started with the other bats.
Okay.
I don't know how widespread now, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time.
Right.
And I wonder how big they can make. Or, they say they did it based on, like, the sweet spot. I don't know if other teams do their own data analysis and say, oh, for my guys, it's different. If we see different, torpedo in different places, it'd be pretty interesting. But sure, if it's within the rules, go for it.
Do you golf?
Not very well, but I try.
Okay.
Early in the season, it's fun to get out there. Weather's nice. By August, you ask me, I'll say no. Probably 10 times out of 10.
So better equipment would help your game then. So in other words, if we got the sweet spot on the club face.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
it
went
would have to be large.
My clubs are like 10 years old. I went for a fitting last year, and my game's so bad. It was just like,
what's this
again,
gonna
they're
do?
talking about bigger heads and sweet spots and everything. It's like, it's still not helping.
Which one makes me swing better?
Well, that's it. And, they have you're just hitting against the mat, which is,
Yeah.
for me, not particularly realistic.
Right.
So, I don't know. It requires time. You've got time. You're young.
All right.
I have no time.
I'll invest in my sportsmanship. I'm starting my basketball league up again this weekend, so that's big.
Oh, you're going to start playing now?
Yep. Because
we all know, because there was a lot of money changing hands
This is
around
true.
your
Yeah.
basketball performance.
I'll have to get the guys in the office, the roster.
Same basic team?
Yeah, some friends from Northwestern.
Okay.
And
you're playing the same basic assortment of Ahmed, Sydney, and Clayton?
Yeah, we'll probably get run over a couple times.
Okay.
But you never know. But yeah, I don't play the leagues in the winter just because I'm not going up to DePaul and it's 10 degrees outside on a Sunday. So now at least I can divvy bike up there.
Will you guys play outside, or is it always inside?
No, it's inside. It's at like the DePaul Rec Center.
Okay.
But yeah, I just don't want to commute in the winter for basketball because I'm a big divvy biker.
That's right.
So it's hard to do in the winter. I still do it,
Okay.
but not advised. But we're off to a
All right,
strong
let's
week.
get into it. Yeah.
Yesterday, was that one of the craziest days you've ever seen in terms of not knowing really what's going on?
I think the whole thing Sunday night being down 4.5%, 5% in U.S. equities.
Aggressive, but
Kiwi new multi-decade lows. Aussie too. I think that was it was aggressive. The bounce back, I think the run up in equities on the tweet was amazing. When I say amazing, it just blew my mind just to see
the magnitude.
The
and
magnitude
speed.
of the rally and smooths and the rally. 1,000 points in NASDAQ.
And this was, I haven't done a great deal of digging, but a lot of CNBC at least was quoted as releasing this
On
yesterday.
their,
of saying that there
when
were
we're
talks
moving
of a
stuff,
tariff pause.
and maybe it's me, but anything that's coming out on Twitter, I'm not relying although Trump is on his Truth Social all the time.
This is true.
So maybe I'm wrong and it's just me. But that was the classic of, again, the market pricing in. I think that move does more harm than good.
It was
because
ferocious.
if you're long, you're not likely to sit with those longs all the way in the rally.
Yep.
And if you're short, there was no.
It was bad enough to hurt you.
It went up, and it took half an hour to come back down change, and it actually rallied from there. But there was no way to reach to get out. So if you were trading equities, we saw the same rally in Aussie to a much more muted degree. Same thing in Kiwi. I think the takeaway for me was the Kiwi rally was pretty freaking anemic, considering 90-day end, suspension of tariffs. Did we have an up move? Sure. We rallied.
But here, yeah, we can't even go on the hourly because it was that fast. We go to 15 minutes, and there it was in the Kiwi. Yeah, got up there, but not to a crazy extent. And we're back there. I mean, we're lower than that rally, whereas you go to the Australian dollar, this one, very interesting, slightly different.
We talked about much bigger move in Aussie.
And this, I think, was pretty, it's pretty similar. We're not exactly where we spiked, still up on the day, but that was taken from Monday's close, so that's where you're getting this 1%. But yeah, I think the lesson learned here, if you're looking at currencies, is what reacted, because we were able to, the move in equities was so fast,
right?
That it was kind of what's going on, who's heard what, and it took a minute. I jumped over to our tastyfx trading platform to see what was moving, and now that we had just that shakeout, I think it's an important exercise as to what actually has the elasticity and what can move with this.
Right.
Aussie, we saw it get all the way above 61 cents, come down immediately, plumb new lows, actually. Was that the low that we've seen this year?
Yep.
Yeah, so new lows off of that, then settle back in for the rest of the day, and overnight we had some China won't back down, never going to give up news, and actually didn't hamper the Australian dollar as much as the initial Chinese response.
And that's tough news at lows.
Right.
So we're not at 68 cents, and the market reacts to, oh my God, this could be longer, last longer, and be worse.
But another one as well that I was looking at, Canadian dollar, I think definitely has some elasticity in it, because we saw this one, now it's kind of blending in, but these 4 red candles here on the 15-minute, that was a big move. I mean, we had 30 pips on top of 20 pips, so 50 pips total, and this was through the lows that we had seen at least until last week. And so I thought this one could keep going. This one immediately reverted and settled into its range. Now, Canadian dollar stronger on the day,
right?
Kind of mirroring that Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. So these commodity currencies sticking together, but not really on commodities anymore. Really, with this tariff pause reprieve.
I think the whole news cycle is what we gain from it. And this is a lot of just supposition. Is that this is an exercise?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean,
and it's only for right now.
Sitting with the Israeli Prime Minister, we're absolutely not pausing for 90 days, but we're open to talking to people.
Well, now 70 countries are coming to the table.
Okay.
Knock, knock.
Right. And who knows what that number really is? There's not a lot of conviction of, and it's like, well, we'll talk, but we're not agreeing to do anything. I don't know what any of that means, and short of, again, a good surplus usually means a company running a good surplus with us is usually running a capital deficit. So they're the countries that are often buying our government instruments with those dollars. So there is this thought that, again, if you take out those buyers of treasuries, and if the argument is, well, we don't want foreigners owning our treasuries, well, all right, that's a natural mechanism for adjusting trade. Who do you have in mind stepping up to buy these? And, I think that brings into question a lot of just, this was put together very quickly off a 1-year sample set of stuff. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So they're either really misinformed as to what they're doing, or this is all just a very high stakes game of poker. And I think the takeaway from yesterday, and that's why we're seeing a recovery in U.S. equities, we're seeing bonds. We were at 122 Sunday night. We're at 116 today.
All
That's
gone.
6 points of bond move is a big bond move. So, while 122 was an extreme to the upside, 116 is a big move down. I think that we're at a point now where we're going to see the markets get a little tired, and they're going to consolidate ranges in a little bit. Any consistent bid in equities, we'll see those ranges we talked about that were so big in FX start to shrink up a little bit. And I know supposedly the Treasury Secretary is talking with the Japanese today. I have no idea what they're going to talk about.
Well, his most recent metaphor is that tariffs are like a melting ice cube if successful. So if that speaks to anything of like kind of the nature of they're in place and then they'll just whittle away with good relations. So that doesn't spell pause to me, but you never know. Melting ice cube.
Okay.
But yeah, you bring up a good point with Japan, just because, we have this exercise in what's now moving with U.S. equities with a possible tariff pause. And now we know what pairs kind of to watch for moves there, those traditional commodity currencies. The Japanese yen we've seen recently, a high correlation to U.S. rates.
Right.
And we've recently got the move you just spoke of in bonds. Steep.
Yen didn't bite though, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so now you kind of brought up perhaps what is a fundamental piece of this in who's buying our debt.
Right.
If that fundamentally changes and the appeal is gone or has to come from somewhere else, maybe we see that correlation break down here. Is there any merit to that? Is there a changing relationship here
There
now?
was talk with me the Japanese, their currency's way too weak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see, again, the market sets currencies. The one thing we've seen is every time a central bank intervenes, it's, again, the line in the sand till it's not. It doesn't necessarily work. Long run, short run, it doesn't work. The market set exchange rates. So I don't know if we're going to see a little bit of bias to the downside a little bit more now because, again, when what's been working for us, which is on a down bond day, higher U.S. yield days, chances are we see dollar yen a little bit higher.
Right.
We're not seeing that today. So is it a one-day break in that correlation? Because we know it's not perfect. Or what I want to see is over the next couple of days, if bonds continue to sit between 114 and 117, and this continues, we trade through those lows at 146, that's going to tell me that correlation is broken a little bit.
Interesting.
And maybe we have a little bit further to go because we talked about currencies at extremes, Aussie, Kiwi at extremes. Dollar yen, certainly off the 160, but well below the 120 or 125.
Right.
So I think there's probably, I'm not ready to say that this is now broken because it's not working for one day. We know they're not perfect correlations.
Right.
But I think I am mindful of thinking about where I want to, if we continue to soften a little bit, I think that correlation is being overridden by other things. What are those other things? I'm not quite sure right now. Is it the trade talk, whatever? Running down the rabbit hole of what's doing it is a futile exercise because it's never just one thing. But I do know something I hung my hat on as a trader, which was I want to be mindful of what my bias is in the yen and be mindful of where U.S. rates are because that's worked for me.
Right.
Why? Really, don't get hung up on the why. If you want, we can always talk about the why, and we do. Don't get hung up on that. Just when it does break down, and correlations are cyclical means they come back in and out, but they ebb and flow. And if we see this consistently, U.S. yields continue to rally and dollar yen just have a offer tone to it, that means we've probably seen that correlation kind of fall off the map for the time being.
Yeah.
So I don't look at that as, well, bonds are up 2 points. I want to be long yen.
Right.
Or bonds are down 2 points. I want to be long dollar yen. So I think that is kind of my takeaway for that here. The sickness in Aussie and Kiwi is an interesting dynamic that I can't quite. I mean, they're still cheap. They're off the rock bottom lows.
Right.
I mean, we're 100 points off the lows we posted yesterday. I got 150, 55 points. They're still cheap by any means. But the tape action here, again, leads me to think that we quite haven't turned the quarter on these pieces. And is it China? Not sure. Could be.
Yen, I think, is one of the most interesting to me right now, just because we're looking at this tape action just over the past few days. And this one, to me, is one that stands out as not really settling anywhere. I mean, we spent some time at 148 yesterday, but that's really just the U.S. afternoon. And now we're back down below 147. We've got a pretty big range here between 145 and 148. So that, spells some potential opportunity if you have conviction in this market. But like you said, if you're looking at this market and bonds, maybe bonds right now more attractive for not trying to pin the low, but for a price extreme.
Absolutely. And let's look at cable, because we talked about cable yesterday, and it actually worked exactly like we talked. We were sitting right there, right there during our, and we were talking about if you're a momentum trader, you're looking for a break at that low,
because this was right through it,
and you got that break, and then you got the bounce on the tweet right up to that level again. You got another swag at selling it, and it gave you a good 70 pip pullback to scalp. Now, if you were the contrarian, it was a good level to play. We're going to see a bounce back up to 130. It didn't do that, and if you managed it,
you maybe got out.
You had an opportunity. The first time through, you definitely had an opportunity to get out. It was
quick, yeah.
You had an opportunity to get out.
Because it did run up and down.
Right, but this was, again, these are great setups in terms of, you've got the range, you're able to work through it. Now it's kind of sloppy a little bit. I don't know quite what the cable trade is right now. We're at where we are right now. So we're seeing euro and sterling bounce back a little bit with stronger U.S. equities. NASDAQ continues to rally. We're up almost 400 points this morning. Bonds are continuing, I would imagine. 116.26, they didn't sell off that much last night, but they had a pretty big hit here. So interesting stuff to walk through. This is another one that will, euro, the same thing. You've got the opportunity here, if you get a little bit of a pullback, you see where the range is, and we're setting it up about 109.10 to 111. If it takes out 109, and you're the momentum guy, you're probably selling that 109 break to look to see what you can get. And I would say you'd look for the 55 or 60 points you ran. If you're looking for a little bit of a bounce here, anything between 109 and 109.20 is an interesting value area. And what are you looking for there? Trade back up to the middle of the range, 109.60, 70. Both setups work depending on what you want to do. And we'll check back in with that tomorrow, because we're at this really an interesting inflection point for that. So let's wrap it up, because we've run out of time, but we'll be back with you tomorrow for the latest edition of Forex Focus. Lots going on in the FX markets, but for now, coming up next, Tom, Tony, and Vanetta. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
In the world of investing, a beast lurks between the numbers. Some watch from the safety of the sidelines, but others saddle up and ride that one-ton rowdy ribeye for all he's got. If that's you, join us on Tasty Trade, named best online broker for options trading. Genius loves company.